where we sort
Yeah.
of like touched on whether, the impact of the managerial role, sort of, what what sort of impact does it have
Yeah.
on, the football, the footballers, the players, for instance. And today, I was just thinking about the manager, um, the Manchester United manager, and I'm thinking about his replacement. Do you think it's going to make any difference? Eh,
Well, that's what we said, wasn't it? It's hard to
Yeah,
know what impact a manager has on the team, and I suppose you could say the same in any workplace, whether it's a sport, whether it's an office, whether it's a school. You have someone in charge, and I think, say for example, schools. There was that one recently in the press where a lady, a woman head teacher, has completely turned around a failing school in a tough area of London, I think it was. So it's become outstanding under the Ofsted definition.
yeah,
And then one of the pupils, I think a Muslim pupil, wanted to have um, everything stopped for I don't know how long for, but a prayer time during the day. And this lady said, "Well, that the head teacher said it wouldn't really be fair on other people, and that's not really how we want it to be because you'd end up having to stop maybe two, three, four times." So she stood up against it. And I think the pupil and her parents they took the school to court, but
yeah,
actually lost the case because it
yeah,
was deemed no, you can't just do that. But anyway, my that wasn't really my point. My point was that this lady has had an incredible impact on that school, and it was a real failing school, and she's turned it into one of the most successful schools in that part of London, if not the whole of London.
yeah,
So in some cases, if you get a very capable person, as with we said before, Alex Ferguson, very capable manager, but a very tough, scary manager to work
yeah,
under him. But he got the best out of players, and that's the secret, I guess, of any manager, anybody who runs something, to get the best out of the people you're dealing with. And in many cases, I think it means you've got to treat everyone according to what they are. You can't just have a blanket approach and say, well, I'm just going to be tough and, tell everybody the same thing, get on with the job sort of thing. And a good person, a good manager, I think, will treat everybody according to what he thinks or she thinks plays to their strengths.
yeah.
So yeah, it'll be interesting to see who goes to Manchester United. I mean, it may be that Eric Ten Hag will stay. I don't
Yeah,
think he will, um, nor do I think he probably wants to, because he's been through a lot of problems in much of this season.
yeah.
But to me, the idea of Gareth Southgate, who used to be a Palace player, he was born in this neck of the woods,
Oh,
went to
yeah,
school around here.
yeah,
And he was a good player. He played for England a few times, and he's done okay with England. You've got to say that
yeah,
he's got us to a final, didn't he? Um, I still don't think if he comes back to club football as a manager, and he was a manager, I think it was at Middlesbrough for a while. He didn't do very well,
yeah,
and I get the impression the FA took him on because he was a cheaper option than some of these foreign managers who they pay, £12 million a year to. So, I mean, even so, Southgate's probably getting 5 or 6 million,
yeah.
which is kind of incredible money, isn't it?
It is.
But no, I don't think Manchester United would take him. I just don't think he's up to their standard. It would be a mistake to go for someone like that, I think.
Yeah. It does raise another question though, because just listening to you talk about his success at the national level, but then not being able to match it at the club level.
Club
It
level, yeah.
it does make me wonder though, do you think because I've heard somebody say that um that good songwriters don't necessarily make good singers, which I dispute, by the way. But do you think that good managers at the club level aren't necessarily good managers at the national level and vice versa? What do you think
Vice
about
versa, yeah.
it? Yeah,
Well, of course, an international manager. has far less to do. I mean, they go most of the time they go watching potential players who they might pick for the national team, but
Yeah,
they've not got the day-to-day contact. I mean, one of the women football managers, Chelsea's Emma Hayes,
yeah,
she's now left. It's the end of the season. I think they've got one more game to play, or they finished, I think. And she's now left Chelsea after 5 or 6 years, and she's won the league most of those years. She's very good. But halfway through the season, she announced she was accepting the managing of the USA
yeah. I
women's
remember
team.
that. I
So
remember
she's
that.
going
Yeah,
over there. But so she'll obviously find it very different. I mean, they've got her like we've got Serena, haven't we? Serena
yeah,
Wiegman,
yeah.
a Swedish lady. I think she manages the England team.
Tim, yeah,
So it does seem to work. But Emma will be used to dealing with her players day in, day out. And
yeah,
suddenly she's going to be in a situation where she only gets the players together probably once every couple of months at the most. Now, that may be good. It's probably a nice work if you can get it, because she's
yeah,
probably being fabulously paid
yeah.
for doing relatively little. So yeah, it'd be quite interesting. But yeah, it's a different job managing an international side to a club side, I would have thought.
Yeah, I would have thought, yeah, it's a good point that you made there because I think at the club level, there's more pressure into it because it's more frequent, like you
Oh,
said,
oh yeah,
you get to do it day in, day out sort of
yeah,
thing because they have to train in the mornings as well, don't they? And then,
yeah,
and
yeah.
then, and then, yeah, oh, that's true, yeah. Yeah, so now the other topic that I was hoping. eh, it's sort of on the borderline between political and not, but we're just going to see how we can balance it. And if it does go too political, feel free to stop me. But I was talking. I was reading. I was reading something about.
Yeah, you're reading something.
Yeah, you're going to be the moderator for this. This is where the true test of moderation comes into play.
Absolutely right. Yeah. I'll stop you if necessary. Okay.
Please do, yeah. So I was reading something about conscription into the army, and it has to do with the German government, and I was thinking, well, in this day and age, do you think that that would work? With the social media kind of freedom of, I can be anything that I want to, I can do whatever I want to then say, hang on a minute, at a certain age, you are legally obliged to, be what's that word? Cons
Conscripted.
that's the
Conscripted.
word,
Yeah.
yeah, conscripted into into the army.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, I read that as well, and
Oh, did
Germany has
you?
recently said
Yeah,
that when boys and girls reach 18,
yeah.
they are seriously now considering conscripting them into the military. I think it said for 1 year.
All
So
right, okay.
it's kind of it's just maybe a preparation. But I think the subtext probably is that Germany is aware, like we all should be, that the world is becoming a bit more dangerous, and this Ukraine issue, the war there, could easily spill over. I mean, not to be too negative about it, but I don't like the way our politicians, like David Cameron, sort of go around saying, well, yes, Ukraine can use the British weapons we're giving them, and just almost rubbing Russia's nose in it, that we are very much helping Ukraine, which obviously they know we are, like the USA is helping and much of Europe. But in a way, I feel our politicians have made us a target. If anything does, get worse, Putin will have Britain or the UK very much in his sights. Now,
All
hopefully, all the things that have kept the peace really for I don't know, the last, since the Second World War, are still relevant, but it just shows, despite the nuclear armaments countries have,
right.
a war can still be fought on the old terms, like we're seeing in Ukraine. I mean, it's when he first went in there, to me, it seemed quite unbelievable that a world leader would actually invade another country, another sovereign country, whatever the historical circumstances, and actually firing weapons of destruction against, civilians and innocent people. It seems
Mm,
hard to take in this day and age, and
yeah.
because it's now been well over 2 years, I think it's a bit like the wallpaper. We're not really seeing it with fresh eyes anymore. I mean, this
Mm,
is quite appalling when you see the television news pictures of lots of parts of Ukraine just blown to bits. I mean, it just defies belief. It
yeah,
defies belief that
it
this
does,
could be happening. And I think that's why the world is beginning to sit up and say, hang on, what with the Middle East problems, with Israel and the Palestinians, the world is a bit of a tinderbox. And I think that's why Germany is now saying we need to be prepared,
Mm,
and our people need to be prepared in case things should take a turn for the worse. So, I mean, we're not on this podcast to be negative and miserable. And as I
yeah,
say, I still think the things that have stopped war and basically created peace over the last 80, 90 years
yeah,
are still relevant. But let's hope that's the case.
yeah. Do you know what I was thinking about actually? I was thinking about the um yeah, I did mention freedom, but I was thinking about the freedom of I don't know what word is it, conscience, or but that has to do with personal beliefs.
Hmm.
If you know what I mean. Because there are certain religions, and Jehovah's Witness being one of them, that would not go to war, for instance. We wouldn't go to war for anything,
No.
you know. Um, wouldn't that be encroaching on the rights of certain, religious sects, certain consensus belief believers or uh, belief holders or whatever you call it? That's what I was thinking about. Because how do you justify that? What law are you then going to use to then say, I'm going to conscript you against your will, basically, into practicing for war. So that's what.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's an interesting thing, isn't it?
Mm,
And there always have been what they call conscientious objectors, isn't there?
that's it.
People
Yeah,
who
conscientious object.
will not do not want to go to war.
Yeah.
I believe reading